Hey, 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 welcome back. Welcome back to the Scorpio channel. My name is Laura. If you're new to the channel, I'm going to do a general message for Scorpio. Know that energy is fluid, roles could be reversed. Just interpret the message as it best resonates with you. Also, know on this channel and on my channel, I like to dive deep within the reading. So I do look at everything, but we take a lot more time to look at the spiritual blocks, the shadows, to see how they play as karmic themes, help you understand why everything's playing out the way that it is. Very important when you're dealing with a person that wears masks, creates illusions and facades. We feel one thing and we see something else. And so, again, it's very confusing if you have very strong feelings or a spiritual connection to the person. This is why I like to dive deep because, again, it's more about your healing, believe it or not. You know, the universe only has a few things to teach you how to, revert back to your original energy, which is unconditional love. It's just unfortunately, it takes a lot of times us to be in a place of pain and suffering to get there, right? So, understanding why things play out the way that they do allows you to see how you contribute to those imbalances. Now, anything of any importance or relevance to the channel, you can find in the description box. And if you are interested in shadow healing, then definitely sign up for my shadow healing coaching program. I teach inner child healing, shadow healing, reparenting, all the healing modalities to help you heal the effects of trauma. Really important when you've dated a narcissist or been around anybody toxic. In actuality, it's really important to recondition. We form habits and behaviorisms that are in alignment with whatever is going on in our environment. So if you were conditioned in an environment that was, out of balance, and out of balance could be anything. It could be, your parents were unavailable, there was alcoholism, could be anything. You form habits and behaviorisms that will help you survive through that period. But then when we get out of those experiences, it's what blocks us, it's what prevents us from actually obtaining the relationships and the life experiences that we want to have. You're the alchemist of your life. Obviously, the readings have a therapy style to them, again, to help you understand. So that helps you stop ruminating. All right, let's see what the underlining energy is. Let's just jump right on in tonight and see what the underlining energy is. That we always see what that is on the first two cards that I pull out. It's just the underlining energy that tells us why the person's doing what they're doing. So permissive, and doubt. I feel like you're in separation from someone that's acting like they don't really care, but it's not like they don't really care. It's that they doubt that they have a shot in hell anymore with you, is what I'm feeling, and this is, you're like, well, the person was so prideful, they knew what they did. And I feel like they did a lot of things to try to make you feel less than, make you feel as if they didn't care as much as they did, created that illusion. We're going to see how, and then we're going to see what they're doing and what they're up to. Well, this person was very self-righteous and rebellious, so if you said black, they would deliberately say white. They like to get underneath your skin. See, this person likes to create a lot of drama because, hey, when you show that so much emotion, you show how much you care, like an energy vampire. And one way that they're doing that is acting like they don't care, acting permissive right now, because they're like, they can still feel an energetic connection, so they're like, I don't want to go to you. I want you to come to me. I'm going to act like I don't care. I'm going to go ghost. Again, but really they're haunted by how they treated you because they doubt quite highly that this is going to work at this point. It's like you were pushed into submission too many times by this person. You weren't allowed to share your opinions. You were supposed to go along with whatever they wanted you to go along with, how they wanted you to go along with it, And the thing is, You weren't going to be the victim. You got tired of this person just deceiving. They didn't really want to be in a relationship at the time. They wanted to stay connected to you, but this person is just a troublemaker. It's like because they don't really know what they want. And because they don't really know what they want, they're not going to show you feeling one way or the other. So we keep seeing, like, again, apathy, like this person doesn't care. It's like they're permissive. Over time, you're like, well, you're not going to feel safe with this person. You felt like they had one foot in, one foot out. They were always in search of somebody. So, this is what it was to be in a relationship with them. Obviously, you weren't not really in a relationship with them because the whole time you feel like they're just playing games, anything not to create that emotional, you know, intimacy. And so understand this person created a lot of jealousy, again, triangles, again, trying to manipulate you into reacting so they didn't have to come to you because they're really, like, again, afraid of rejection because of their betrayal. And I told you, this person knows what they did, they just took it to the extreme, and now they're like, I don't really know how to, get you to respond. So, not that they don't want to be transparent. They don't know how to get what they want doing the same thing. And so, and the reason why is because you're balanced and this person cares too much about what it looks like, their self-image. If I come back to you, then I look weak. And so really all this person is doing nothing except for projecting and not doing anything because they don't really know how to fix it. Now, let's see what they really feel about you. Not that it's important with all this almost. I like to look, but when a person acts like this, they're always wanting you to, abandon your standards. Always want you to manipulate. They usually get what they want. That's why they continue to do it. But you would never be happy. I am so sorry. And that's what I said. This person is in regret, but they're not showing it to you. I feel you because that ESP connection is still there. ESP through the heart and mind. And you can't help who you have feelings for, or actually, even once because there was a spiritual test here, there will always be a karmic connection. There will always be a karmic cord until the test is really learned. And I feel like right now this person is seeing that they screwed up their relationship. They're afraid of commitment because they're afraid of commitment. So what it was is, again, they wanted you to be in their life, but they didn't want to create the intimacy. So what they did was they created a lot of drama. And then they figured you would fight for the relationship and that you would do all the work, that you would have expectations, obviously, that they would give to you and they would never be met. And obviously, this person had expectations of how you were going to react, and they were off. And then what wound up happening is it's like they just feel like they're not good enough for you down deep inside. So you have to realize that why did a person do all this? And they did all of it because, hey, you're going to make them hold to a certain standard that they don't really know whether they can do it. And it's basing everything on past relationships because this person has a fear of commitment. They have a fear of commitment because they are afraid of losing themselves. But what you see here is that they were always in search for something, which kind of means that they don't even know who they are. When we're always looking for something and we can't be satisfied ever, to the point that we're always running and we can't be emotionally intelligent where we actually show feelings, this person only goes surface normally, but they can feel you. So it's very confusing for this person because they feel one thing and then all their core beliefs and everything else is based on not really being in a relationship, not showing feelings, not being emotionally intelligent, not being transparent, not creating any of that intimacy or trust. but inside they have feelings. And you're like, oh, who wants to be in a relationship like that? Nobody. Understand this person has more sexual fantasies about you, which they keep it in the lust. So again, that connection, when there is passion, there is, a lot of attraction, but the spirit will use that attraction to, obviously lure the person to, if they have feelings, they're going to change. It's going to make them want to change, rise to your level. What we see here is that this person's like, I don't know if I can do it. I don't think I can do it. Whether they think they can or they think they can't, they're right, because that's where they're putting their energy, right? They're intimidated by you. Again, we keep seeing the same things out of a full deck of cards. It's they have sexual fantasies about you, but they don't really think that they're good enough for you. So they would always try to make you lower your standards, which is what it is. And in that, you feel forgotten about, like your needs go invisible. And it's not because that this person doesn't have feelings, they can't express them, and that's the problem. They feel empty. They feel empty without you. So the moment that you cut your energy off, if you already haven't cut it off, this person's going to feel that you're gone. And the thing is, they can't stay in the fantasy realm anymore. This person's detached and has a lot of trauma around relationships. They don't like commitment. They don't like anything like that because of everything that's happened in the past, but they couldn't help having strong feelings for you. So now they're holding on to a cognitive dissonance, which is, I want it, but I don't. And that's exactly what the entire relationship looks like. Hey, Christopher. So, you're dealing with that, and it's what it is that the person feels so bad really about themselves. Again, they feel intimidated by you. They feel that they're not good enough. And so what do? They abandon people to make themselves feel more important. So their behaviorism is in alignment with everything, which is that they can't really have a relationship because they've made that their prophecy. It's just there's a want and there's a desire also to be with you, but they're afraid, almost like if they're with you, they'll fuck up the relationship, is what I'm feeling, because you're always on this person's mind. That's very obsessive behavior, and that's addictive behavior. And that's, again, because this person really isn't living their life. They're in fantasy land, and then the whole time they're showing you nothing. They're acting like they don't care. So it's like, in that you're feeling one thing, you're seeing something else, which obviously this is a game that they normally play. So people will then come to them and say, well, I know that they have feelings for me. Let me do this. Let me do that for them. This is not how you are. You're on a higher vibration. You're like, I'm not going to do this or that for you, because that if they don't do it, they're not opening up their heart to you. And the person that only goes to the surface, they don't have a problem betraying you. And this is the way that this person rolls, because it makes them feel more important, because they're really afraid of commitment. But they're not going to come in and say, I'm afraid of commitment. They're going to come in as the bad boy, the bad girl, again, create the persona, the illusion, where meanwhile they really have very strong feelings for you, but they don't believe that they can have it. And that's where the sabotaging behavior comes in, because the core belief is that they don't really believe that they can have it. And that's what the problem. Again, unhealed trauma. It's a problem. It's a problem. And this person also has money issues. Now, they could be making a lot of money, but then also their spending habits are going to be in more alignment, because when a person has a blockage when it comes to intimacy, that means emotionally they're not getting what they need. So they need to, artificially get that kick, that emotional kick, which could be anything from shopping to drinking to, again, anything. Because, again, the person doesn't feel good. So, again, they don't really feel that they belong anywhere. They feel inadequate about themselves, so they stay in old habits, and again, that keeps them staying intimidated because they never heal, they never grow, they never fix anything. So the thing is, they've never had a connection like this before. So, I feel like this person has tried to run, has tried to suppress, has tried to like do everything to control. Again, yes, to suppress. I knew that we were going to see this. And so now that you're not coming back to them, they're going to be the victim when really they're not the victim. It's that they would have to change. The whole point of soul relationships is it makes us change. Why? Because again, evolve. We wouldn't evolve. So is this person going to change? Are they going to do anything at all? Or are they just going to stay in this energy? And a lot of times they will not do anything and they'll stay in this energy and just try to replace you with someone else and stay in that karmic cycle where the relationship looks like shit because, they don't create any intimacy. They don't go any deeper and the karmic loop continues just with someone else. Sometimes they can heal, sometimes, but it's a lot lower. We have seen more karmics than we do life partners or twin flames, unfortunately. But anything's possible. Well, again, it's like there is a part of them that wants to like align, that wants to form that connection. Now, whether they can is something altogether different. It's like this person's bit childish, but it is their wishful thinking is that it's that they have to do the work. And the problem is that there's still a lot of past trauma that they need to heal. They need to heal in order to like be in this relationship. So there's a desire and there's a want, and they know what they need to do. But, you know, will they do it? It's like, well, they want to, and intention is the first thing. It's almost like, yeah, they're actually thinking about doing it, but I want you to know the relationship would be still very rocky because, this person isn't 100% healed. They can't really be in a relationship while they heal. And the thing is, everything would be a trigger for this person. So it would almost be like you make up to break up. The conflicts are always an opportunity for growth and change. So the relationship is a real difficult relationship, almost like a twin flame relationship. But almost like where this person isn't 100% there. They're trying to step it up to that divine energy. Now you might be like, now why all of a sudden do they want to do that? Well, again, inquiring minds want to know why all of a sudden are they doing it? Possibly because you just are not putting up with it anymore. And because, again, they want to hold you in their arms. Because, again, there's a lot of like chemistry there. Obviously, they haven't taken the time to really cultivate this relationship. So remember, they have a lot of sexual fantasies about you. And that's pretty much, it is on a lower vibration. It's lust. However, the constant thought about you is making them remember the universe is going to utilize whatever it needs to help people revert back to the energy of unconditional love. And this is where this person is starting. They don't feel good about themselves. They're very intimidated by you. They're not emotionally intelligent. They're not going to show their feelings. They're going to hide them until it becomes so uncomfortable that they have to do something. And that's because, again, that passion, that chemistry that they feel like it could be. But they said, but the relationship would be hard. Remember, when there's a lot of passion and the person's still going to be selfish, still going to be insecure because they haven't healed, you have to hold them to a standard. So, and understand this person is still like, I'm afraid this relationship is too good to be true. And I pull away in fear. And that's exactly what would happen. They're an avoidant. So and they're intimidated. So anything that you say or do can trigger this person. So this is why that it would not be an easy relationship. You'd really have to like grow like nerves of steel, because this person knows that you have a past connection, memories are surfacing for them. It's like there's a very strong spiritual connection. They want to let their guard down with you, but the fear makes them lash out in self-defense. And didn't I tell you, that's what relationship is going to be like, where you'll be like, I just said whatever, and this person like bugged out on me. And it's like not even because you did anything. You could have just said, are we going to go to dinner tonight? I would like to go to dinner tonight. Like, we haven't spent that much time together. Now, this person would be like, are you controlling me? You telling me what to do? Like, and they would become more rebellious. And it would, instead of being able to actually have a conversation and, express themselves, this is what it would be like. This is what I'm trying to tell you. That's why they're karmic. They're karmic because they need to learn how to actually be in a relationship. You know, they watch you on social media and the internet, and it's their way of staying close. Again, stalking, fantasy time, sexual fantasy time, and again, watching you on social media. This person is not present. It's like, and they feel safer in this type of relationship because again, you intimidate them, but it's again, they don't like who they are. So it has nothing to do with you. And a person that doesn't like who they are, it's not going to be a good relationship for you because they're not going to know how to like deal. I need you to trust me and believe I am working towards a union with you. So down deep inside, they will, because I long for your kisses and your touch. Back to sexy time. So that's where this person is at. If you want to know the truth, it's I know I need to release attachments with karmic people. So they have people also around them. Not probably not even one, like a few. Remember, this person is codependent. They leave people. So they have people that are lingering. That if they're going to come to you, they have to come to you direct. You're going to make them hold to a standard. That's why they don't know whether they can even be in this relationship because they're broken. So being in a relationship with this person would be like being like dancing the cha-cha. You do 3 steps forward, you do 2 steps backwards, 3 steps forward, 4 steps back. That's what it would be like. And you'd feel like you were always on a roller coaster. So that's their plan. Their plan is that they're going to come back. And it's because they can't stop thinking about you. And I'm not going to lie, it's all about like the sex, the passion, even if you haven't had sex with them. They're just so attracted. Again, they're in sexy land, like imagination time, to the point that eventually that's not going to be satisfying enough for them. So we have to say, why would you attract a person like this into your life? Like what is the energy? Like why? Why would you do that? It's like why would you do that? Like why did you, and spirit says, well, you're a magnet of whom what comes into your life. So you might be just afraid of relationships, being like, I've had a few bad relationships. I'm not really ready to run right on into a relationship. I'm not strong within myself. Spirit says that's all it would take, because there's only 2 energies, love and fear. But we'll see, we always look at the inner child wounds first, because that's where you're going to see where that original karmic theme came from. And the original karmic theme could be anything from abandonment to, not having enough. It could be anything like time and attention, play, safety and security, naive, inner authority, and neglect. Well, there you go. I mean, growing up in an environment where if your parents work all the time, that's just the way that it is. It's like it's not anyone's fault. There's only so many hours in a day. But on some level, you were neglected. You felt like neglected because there was no time and attention to you. And really, that's what this person like gave you a big hard time. again, over really nothing, acting like they don't care when the whole time they care. It's, obviously there's no safety and security in a person that emotionally can't show up for you. If your parent wasn't really there for you during certain hardships because they had to work, and that's really what I feel. It's like I don't even feel like, you normally feel like alcoholism or, you know, bad karmic relationship the parents had, like a trauma bond. That's not even that. This is just had to work, and so you were had to grow up sooner than you actually were meant to. But because parent was said, I got to go to work, you got to take care of your brother, your sister, you got to, make dinner for yourself, you have to do things. So you weren't going out and playing, you weren't finding yourself, you were actually giving yourself that safety and security. And not all the time did you feel safe or secure, but you did grow your intuition, like you became strong within yourself, and so you didn't have that much experience when it came to crazy people, people like that have had this type of issue. You thought, well, I'm going to treat people the way I want to be treated. And, you weren't looking for problems. Either you hadn't dated that much, or you had a long-term relationship for some of you, and the relationship just fell apart. But it was never like this. This was actually like a step down from what you had because of the way that this person acted. Never with a person that liked you, has feeling so much passion, but is going to sit there and ignore you and watch you on social media. Like that's someone that really has a lot of trauma. That's someone that isn't 100% present. They're living in their fantasy. And that's the thing. It's become uncomfortable for them. And so, but you see why you attracted that person into your life. It wasn't even abuse. I just didn't get the time and attention and the nurturing, and I felt neglected. It's not, is it true? It's a perception. It's the child self is what remembers. And then what happens is it plays out over time where, hey, you get into another relationship and now you say, well, I want to make sure I get that time and attention. So let me make sure that I give this person the nurturing and the kindness, which is where you went naive because spirit says, you didn't teach that person how you wanted to be treated. You wanted to make sure, so you showed them through doing it for them, and they just sat there and let you bask. They just sat there and basked in it. They weren't taking note. You were showing them that they didn't have to do it for you. And so but that was not what your intention was. You were like, I just felt like they wanted to, but they didn't know how to please me or to, so I was showing them, and spirit says, yeah. And this person was like, well, if you do the work, then emotionally you'll get connected to me, and really spirit says, look, loving yourself. You have to transmute the negative energy, because regardless of whether you would take this person back, which I don't recommend it, because again, I feel like you're going to get triggered a lot by this person. You may try, say, oh, we really have a connection and there's love there. And it's an opportunity to heal, yes, but it's there's a very fine line between love and hate when it's like that. And when you're on a higher vibration, it's very difficult to stay on that high vibration. When you're with someone on that much of a lower vibration, they're going to continually pull you down, and they can't stay on your high vibration for that long. They can try sometimes, but it's a process. So spirit says you got to love yourself more. It's, again, that's the rule. You have to love yourself, break the silence, use your voice, speak your truth, set boundaries. Maybe you didn't as much as you should have. Ask for what you need. Spirit says now it's time to go into the unknown. You want to open your heart to what's new. Like when you go out and you see different things, and you're going to connect to different people. It shows you different elements of life, and it shows you different elements of yourself, and what you really, what you're really made of, and what you really want, and what you really truly desire. Spirit says, go out and explore. If you weren't really allowed to go out and play because you grew up too fast, now is the time to go out and play because you find yourself when you play and you say, "What am I interested? What am I passionate about? What I like?" Go out and explore what those things are. Go deeper into them because understand that's the way the universe makes a way where there is no way for you. That allows you to heal that because you're filling your own cup up all the way. So if anyone comes into your life, they're only getting whatever falls out of the cup. You never give them what's coming from your cup because they'll drink your entire fucking cup. So you only give them, what falls out of the cup. This way, if they stay in your life, great. If they don't, it's no big deal. And that's the thing. You always have to teach a person how you want it to be treated. Spirit says it's time to live authentically and boldly. Live out loud. You want to be authentic, so you attract people that are going to be authentic. This person's a little bit of a phony. Again, they're pretending that they don't have feelings. They're creating illusions and hiding because they feel inadequate. They feel like there's something wrong with them. And Spirit says that's the thing. It's like there's infinite possibilities out there. You fulfill the promise to yourself. And that's going to require you to really love yourself. Because again, you can love this person, say, I really do love this person. And this person really does love me. And they do really love you. But, Spirit says, choose you first. Choose you first. Fulfill the promise to yourself. Otherwise, first of all, you didn't teach this person how you want to be treated because you're not going after what's yours. People need to be taught. This person needs to be taught that no person will ever fulfill them because there's emptiness inside. That's an inside job. You need to do that also for yourself, Spirit says, because you grew up in a certain way, you felt a little neglected, you didn't get the time, maybe you get overlooked, and you never really asked for the attention, but you need to reparent yourself. Do it for yourself. This way, later on, if this person really is your person, you're going to know because you've already went out and explored all different elements of the world. You played, you found yourself, you didn't lose opportunities. You invested in you. That's why you're going to meet people more in alignment with your energy. And then that'll force this person to step it up. They won't have a choice and they will have to remain on a certain level. Stranger things have happened. But Spirit says at this point, like you said, go out into the world. And because all this was really to alchemize the energy. It's again, you had trauma and that trauma needed to be transformed. You needed to take that pain into power. And really, it's this person's karma that they played around, they did a lot. Now you're like, I'm not really into it. I'm going to take care of me first. It's like, if you want to be in my life, you need to work your way. You ain't like coming back where we left off because I don't like where we left off. It's like, and that's the thing. This person is not used to having to work that hard. And we leave off with one more message, which is, two. Okay. Courage. Again, courage to be by yourself right now, that you are stronger than fear and bigger than doubt, that you are light and that you remain light. You trust in God and you stand tall before the tests of life. And again, that was the test. Grow and become wiser through every challenge, and you are being of new life and freedom through faith. So, that you calm your thoughts and you rise above fear. You free yourself of all doubt by entrusting your doubts to God. Have faith in God's perfect timing and placement, meaning it's not this person, but it's going to be somebody else that you may think, well, it's not going to happen. Spirit says, I know what you want more than you know what you want. You need to just be like childlike. Find yourself, invest in yourself, find those infinite possibilities for you. Become the energy of love by doing what you love. I already know your type. I know where you're going to be. I know everything. I'm all knowing. You're not. You're again thinking that maybe it might not happen. It'll happen, just not with that person. That have faith in God's perfect timing and placement and trust his will to find freedom. Meaning you don't have to worry about it. It's taken care of. It's just not in this time because Spirit says, well, I want you to give yourself first. I want you to see, hey, you have actually a lot of options out there. You need to see that for yourself. So then this way, when someone comes in and doesn't treat you the right way, then you're like, I don't really need to settle for less with them what I deserve. This way, when a person does care about you, they see that. You don't need to tell them you need to treat me a certain way. They obviously see it by the way that you hold yourself and by the way that you are. It's like people a lot of times are naive because they care more about the other person's feelings. They want to do the right thing. They want to care. And then because they think that everyone has the same heart that they do. And unfortunately, people don't. So it's a way that you can have discernment and feel safe. I'm going to leave that there. Any questions? I'll answer them now. Let's see. She waited until 58 years old to do this after 13 years of being married. Yeah, that sucks. That people do that. I mean, but people also tend to go from one extreme to another. They go from fantasy and everything is great to abandonment. And it's because unless we know who we are, what happens is that we're not strong. And so when we're not strong, then the person will become a chameleon, become everything you want them to be. And then what happens is they get comfortable and then they turn into who they really are, and that's what it sounds like happened to you, Christopher. I'm sorry that that happened, but people need to fill their own cup up. Otherwise, they'll always be looking for something to emotionally fulfill them. Just know that that had nothing to do with you, that has everything to do with her. All right. I'm going to leave that there. I'll talk to you soon. Bye bye.